Gardening with deer can be limiting and gardening in shade can be limiting. So I wanted to make this video. I'm going to share my favorite perennials, ground covers, and shrubs for shade that the deer do let me have in my Zone 7 garden. We're going to go over 18 of them. Don't worry, you don't need to take notes. I made a guide. It's got the pictures and the hardiness zones. I've tested just about all these in my Hudson Valley, New York Zone 7 garden, so chances are they'll be good for you too. While no plant is 100% deer proof, there are plenty of plants that are way less appetizing to deer. Just to give you some general guidelines, deer tend to avoid plants with fuzzy or leathery leaves, strong or bitter scents, and milky or sticky sap. When they're really hungry, they'll go after almost anything. So it's not a bad idea to use deer repellents. I know a lot of people feel strongly about deer repellents feeling disgusting. The one that I use, it smells when I first apply it, but the next day I can't smell it at all. It's called Deer Defeat. And I also like this one because I can spray it, and as long as it has time to dry on the leaves, it's not gonna rain right away. I don't need to reapply it in the rain. So there are sprays out there that are a higher quality. I do not like the one that you can get in the big box stores. You have to reapply that one every time it rains, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, who has time for that? That said, I hardly spray my garden at all. If a plant only needs to be sprayed once or twice a year, that's a winner. I don't mind that. Okay, let's start with perennials, and we'll start early in the season. Hellebores. They're one of the first plants to bloom. Hellebores are great. The deer in my area have not touched them at all. Some people do find that they will munch on the new growth of hellebores or the buds, so you might have to give them just one spray in the beginning of the season. But for me, I haven't had to spray them at all. And they are so pretty. You can get them in so many different colors. There's singles, there's doubles, there's ones that hang down, and there's ones that sit upright. I really love this plant, and it just has a beautiful foliage that you can enjoy throughout the summer when the blooms are done. It's just a real winner in my book. Another spring blooming one for shade is bleeding hearts, or any plant in the Dicentra family. But I love bleeding hearts. I mean, they take me back to my childhood, because what kid doesn't love a flower that's the shape of the heart? They're just such a neat plant. They're great for bouquets. They add such an interesting element and a nice spike. This is one that I have had the deer now and again take a nibble on, but they really don't like the taste. They move on, so it's not a big deal. I don't need to spray these. Another spring bloomer that is actually mostly grown for its foliage, but it does have really pretty blue blooms, is Brunner. Brunner has fuzzy leaves, so the deer tend to avoid this. You can get it in plain green, variegated. I just got a new variegated one this year. It spreads very easily from seed if you leave those flower heads up, so it can cover a nice shady area, a really good one for putting under a tree. Pulmonaria is another fuzzy-leaved one that comes in various colors. I just got a new one I'm really excited about. There's the one with the spotted leaves and the one that has more of a white leaf, and I have one called Spot On and Pink-a-Blue, and both of them have blooms that are pink and blue. And that is just really neat. It adds so much interest to the garden. The deer don't touch them because they have those fuzzy leaves. And when the blooms are spent, the foliage looks so pretty throughout the summer and the fall. If it's looking tattered in the summer, you can even cut it all the way back and it'll just flush out new growth. Next to bloom are the peonies. Peonies are beautiful. They smell so great. They make a great spring bouquet. The deer leave these alone. They tend to never nibble mine until even after they're blooming. For some reason, they'll come by and nibble the foliage, but it's not a big deal. They'll literally take like one bite and walk away. They don't like them. And peonies come in all different colors. You can get singles, doubles, and they're just a really easy to care for plant. They can flop once they bloom and it rains, so I did do a video on how you can stake them with willow sticks. I'll link that in the description. A Stillby is a great one. You get these plume-like flowers that are really tall, add some nice height to the garden. I have found the deer did munch my Stillby flowers this year. They don't always, it's not their favorite, so had I sprayed them with deer repellent when they were just in their bud phase, when they were green, I really think that would have worked, because I did that with my Liatris, which I'm not going to get into because that's a sun lover, but that was all I had to do, spray it once. So I'm leaving a Stillby on this list because it is deer resistant. I know they don't like the taste of it, but I have had a lot of babies being born in the backyard this year, and they sample things that taste terrible because they have no experience. So if you have a lot of babies growing up on your property, you might want to spray a little more. Lamb's ear. Lamb's ear has a super fuzzy texture. It's a really easy plant to grow. You can stick lamb's ear in sun or shade. It does absolutely fine. When you plant it in shade, the blooms might be a little floppy, but you don't really grow it for the blooms anyway. You can just cut those off and have the pretty foliage. Ferns. Ferns are great for shady spots. Ferns again come in so many different shapes and sizes. You can get ostrich ferns that can be up to 7 feet tall. You can get Japanese painted ferns that serve as a nice short plant. Christmas ferns, they're evergreen, so then you have something to look at all year, at least in our zone 7. And I have never had a deer take a bite out of fern. No need to spray. Goatbeard is another great one. This one can even handle dry shade. The original Goatbeard is a very tall, showy shrub that gets these pretty white flowers. I have a little version of it, so it comes in many different sizes if you just want to tuck a little one in your garden. This one, unfortunately, it's out of peak bloom. I didn't get to see it in peak bloom. It was already going to seed when I bought it, but the deer haven't touched it. Hakanoa, this is a great one. Really easy to care for as long as it gets enough moisture. It doesn't tolerate dry shade. So Hakanoa you can throw in to add just a bright pop of color. It comes in gold, it comes in green, it comes in variegated colors. The only thing about my Hakanoa, while the deer don't touch it, Molly, my poodle, she does. So I have to keep it where she can't get it. Otherwise, she'll just chew it and chew it and chew it. So you want to watch that if you have dogs that tend to eat your grass. She eats my oat grass too. Liilularia I have planted right next to my Hakanoa. This is one I just found out about because one of my viewers recommended that Liilularia is a good deer resistant plant, and it's true. I've had it next to my Hakanoa for the past few days now, and we get deer every single day, and the deer haven't nibbled it, so this is another great one. It does get yellow flowers. I'm not growing it for that. I just like the foliage. I really wanted something dark purple next to that Hakanoa to make it pop. Now I want to get into some ground covers. Lamium. Lamium is so pretty. It has variegated foliage and it gets purple flowers in spring. This is another fuzzy one, so the deer aren't going to want to eat it. I don't know why. I actually don't have this in my deer resistant shade garden. I have it back here in the fenced garden. So I want to pick up some Lamium because I think that would brighten up the deer resistant shade garden that I'm working on right now. One that I do have in there right now is Bugleweed or Ajuga. I have the chocolate chip Ajuga. It has dark foliage and it gets these blue blooms, and I have it planted right next to my bleeding heart. So they bloom at the same time. So I get that pink from the bleeding heart and the blue from the Ajuga. It's just such a nice contrast. It's such a good combo. I totally recommend it. Creeping Jenny. This is nice if you want a pop of chartreuse. You can also grow this in a container because it will trail, but if you leave it as a ground cover, it will spread. You gotta be careful with Creeping Jenny and make sure it's not invasive in your area. It's definitely not invasive in my area. I've had it places and it just disappeared, so I needed to plant more. But it is easy to propagate by cuttings, or even if you just let the long piece root. Make sure you're getting new plants, which is why it can be invasive in certain areas. And some people have told me that deer in their area do eat it, but here in New York, Hudson Valley, Zone 7, if you're in the area, they don't touch it here. Rabbits might eat it though, but this video is not about rabbits. Now I want to talk to you about some shrubs that can at least handle some part shade. Boxwood. Boxwood can do sun or shade. It will grow at different rates depending on how much sun it gets, because I have some of the cavalry boxwood that's in the sun and it does get way bigger than my one in the shade. But if you need something, it will work and the deer don't touch it. Spyhea. With Spyhea, there's no guarantee on the blooms. I have one Spyhea that I did move into my fenced in area, and I'm so glad I did because it gets these beautiful pink blooms that are so great for the bumblebees. But I have another Spyhea that I just grow for the foliage. I don't even like the blooms on it. To me, they're not even pretty. It's like this candy cane, peppermint, white, and pink dots. I don't like the blooms, but I just like the foliage. You get this beautiful gold foliage, and then when you clip the dead blooms off in the summer, the new growth, it's red and it's just so interesting, and it's just such a welcome color when it first comes out, chartreuse in the spring. But in some areas, if your deer pressure isn't that high, they won't touch that Spyheas at all. And this is another one that had I sprayed my Spyhea, I'd probably be okay. As I said before, I'm not a prolific sprayer. You know, it's just another chore. We have a lot of things to do in the garden, so I like to keep the spray to a minimum. Man, that bird's loud. Golden Juniper. I put this on the list because I do have a Golden Juniper in the shade, and it's doing great. This one is actually Golden Cone Juniper. It does get some sun. It's in a part shade location, but if you want a pop of color, I do recommend Golden Juniper, because they haven't touched it. They really don't like anything in the juniper family. Wila. This is another one. No, the deer will not let me have the flowers, but Wigelas come in these really pretty foliage colors. Like I have this dark purple one that I love. It would be nice if I could have the flowers because it does get those nice tubular flowers that the hummingbirds would love. This is another one maybe if I sprayed it, but again, if you just want the foliage, you can also get the My Monet one, which I haven't picked up yet. I think I am gonna get it this year. It's a really pretty variegated one that gives you a nice pop of brightness in the shade garden. So again, no plant is deer proof. I mean, I have had some comments from my 26 ultra deer resistant plant video that the deer have never touched any of those plants in my garden. Some of you have said the deer have ate them down to a nub. So it really depends on your area. But if you want to go out and try some deer resistant plants for shade, I recommend all of these. Give them a try, see if the deer take a nibble or not. If they do take a nibble, maybe try a high quality deer resistant spray just once in a while and see if you can get away with it. I get mine from deerdefeat.com. This is not sponsored. If you know of a great deer resistant spray, let us know in the comments, or even better, if you have a DIY recipe, you just want something in there that would make it stick so that you don't have to reapply it in the rain. And I don't know what that is. So if you do, let me know. So if there's any deer resistant plant for shade I haven't mentioned that you recommend, please let us know in the comments. We're learning so much from one another. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.